Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, Saka here, and welcome back to another episode of D&D 5e for absolute beginners, and today we are covering the Cleric class. And there is a lot to dissect about a Cleric. As you can see my prep here with all the spells and different features, we have a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. Clerics are usually known to be the healers of the group. However, a Cleric does have a lot of offensive capability, as you will soon see. As far as where you should allocate your dice rolls when creating a Cleric, Wisdom should be where your highest roll goes, and then you can choose between Strength or Constitution. If you wanted to be more of a, backlines archer type Cleric, you can put it more into Constitution to take some more blows, or if you know you are going to tank a lot, then a high Constitution wouldn't be bad, though Strength is needed if you're swinging maces, hammers, clubs, that sort of thing. Either way, and the background they suggest is the Acolyte background, and when we get into backgrounds, you will see why that is important, but for now, just know that Wisdom is your primary stat, followed evenly by Strength and Constitution. The Cleric at level 1 starts with 1d8 plus Constitution modifier. So if this was, say, 12 and we would have a +1, we would roll a 1d8 and add 1 when we level. We would then start this character with 9 hit points, as 1d8 at its maximum plus the 1 point gives us 9 total maximum hit points. So kinda dangerous, but all level 1 characters kinda have to be babysat a bit. You come proficient in light armor and medium armor as well as shields. So do you want a little bit more AC, or are you going to be light on your feet? That is totally up to you, but you can wear light or medium armor just fine. The weapon set you have to choose from is simple, so things like the mace, the javelin, the hand axe, the light hammer, club, dagger, the quarterstaff, spear, and sickle will be your primary way of attacking when you're not casting spells. The Cleric's proficient saving throws are Wisdom and Charisma, meaning you add your proficiency bonus, which is 2 at level 1, to your modifiers to give you a +3 and a +2 at this case. Of course, with a very high roll, say, a 16, that would be +3. And then that would be 3 + 2, so that would be a +5 to your saving throw. Add that to a d20 roll, and if someone is trying to affect your Wisdom, you might be able to stop it. As far as skill proficiency goes, you can choose from 2 of the list of History, Religion, Insight, Medicine, and Persuasion. Choosing 2 of those are very powerful, keeping in mind also that any racial skill proficiencies and background skill proficiencies would add to those proficiencies as well, so don't double dip. Starting equipment for the Cleric, you can have a mace or a warhammer if, and only if, you are proficient in warhammer. So this will come down to a race or a background proficiency given to you. If you do not have a race or background that grants you warhammer proficiency, then you will start with the mace, a 1d6 bludgeoning damage, 4 pounds. You have your choice of leather armor, scale mail armor, or chainmail if and only if you are proficient in heavy armor chainmail. So if you did, like the weapon, choose a race or background that grants you heavy armor proficiency, you can choose from an AC of 14 plus Dex, maximum of 2, or leather armor, AC 11 plus Dex. Now notice this is capped at 14 plus 2 max, so if your Dex is really, really high, in this case it would be over a 5, so that would be a 20 on Dex. The leather armor would be just as good as scale mail, but if you want to absorb some more hits, the medium armor is the way to go. Take your scale mail, though you do have a stealth disadvantage. You can also choose between a light crossbow and 20 bolts for the crossbow, or another simple melee weapon. So if you want some range, you can take the crossbow. If you aren't satisfied with a club and want something like a hand axe or a javelin or something like that that you can throw, you can choose to take that as well. You can have a priest pack or an explorer's pack, which basically is a backpack full of extra goodies to help you along. And you have a shield and holy symbol. The holy symbol is something like an amulet or something that they can wear to cast their spells. Spell casting here, as you can see, their focus is a holy symbol. So you don't need anything special to cast it as long as you have that holy symbol. So let's talk about spell casting, as there is a lot to unpack with the cleric. First of all, you choose from 3 of these cantrips. Any 3 you can start with. Guidance, touch one willing creature. The target can roll a d4 and add the number rolled to an ability check of its choice. Kind of like Bardic Inspiration with a 2 roll penalty, or a 2 number penalty. It's not a d6, it's a d4, but awesome. We have the light, casting 20-foot radius bright light. We have a mending, repairs a single break or tear in an object you touch. We have resistance. With one willing creature, the target can roll a d4 and add to a saving throw of its choice. Sacred Flame, the flame-like radiance descends on a creature, must succeed on dex saving throw or take 1d8 radiant damage. The target gains no benefit from cover. Spare the Dying, touch a living creature that has 0 hit points. The creature becomes stable. It has no effect on undead or constructs. And just like the Tiefling, you can have Thaumaturgy, allowing you to change your eyes, your voice, turn on and off lanterns from a distance, slam doors, you know, just be louder and more impressive looking than you might be in stature. And as you can see, these spells on the right are your level 1 cleric spells. You can choose from your wisdom modifier plus cleric level to learn, and then you can cast 2 per day without needing a long rest. So say we rolled, let's say a 16 and get that plus 3. Then because our modifier is 3 and our level is 1, we can choose 4 of these level 1 spells to pick from and then cast 2 per day. During each level, you can choose to swap out some of these spells for other spells. If one is looking more appealing given your current situation, you can swap them out when you level, but you always have at least one of those spells. So if you didn't follow the Yellow Brick Road and put anything into your wisdom, you can at least have one. So if you decided to put an 8 in your wisdom and you got a -1, you can't have negative spells. So thanks to the kindness of the player's handbook, you at least know one of these. You have 2 slots. So essentially you're just wasting a spell, but you at least get to choose from one of these. We have a Bane. 3 creatures of your choices that you can see must make charisma saving throws. When the target fails, they make an attack roll or a saving throw. They must roll a d4 and subtract the roll. So it's kind of an inverse guidance on a creature. We have Bless. 3 creatures, whenever the target makes an attack roll, the target can roll a d4 and add. So a literal inverse. We have Command. A 1-word command for a creature to follow that you see within range. The spell has no effect if the target is undead. You can do something simple like approach, drop, flee, grovel, halt. When you cast it at 2nd level, you can affect 1 additional creature, and creatures must be within 30 feet of each other when you target them. So this is not an in-depth command like you will go, unlock the door, you will run down the hall and alert every guard. This is something like go, or run, or drop, or the outside Xbox crew, disrobe, something like that. Create or destroy water, exactly as it says. You create 10 gallons of clean water within range in an open container. Alternatively, the water falls as rain in a 30-foot cube, or you can destroy water. You can cure wounds. Hit points equal to 1d8 plus spell casting ability modifier. And for clerics, that is wisdom. Detect evil and good. You know if there's an aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead within 30 feet of you. Same thing for the presence of magic. And same thing for poisons, poisonous creatures, and disease. You also have a Guiding Bolt. Make a ranged spell attack. If it hits, it takes 4d6 radiant, and the next attack roll made against this target has advantage thanks to the dim light glittering. The Healing Word, 1d4 plus spellcasting ability. Inflicting wounds, the target takes 3d10 necrotic damage on a melee spell attack on a creature you can reach. And then the last four, we have Protection from Evil and Good. A willing creature is protected against certain types of creatures: aberrations, celestials, elementals, fae, fiends, and undead. Those creatures have disadvantage on attack rolls. The target can't be charmed, frightened, or possessed by them. If the target is already charmed, frightened, or possessed, the target has advantage on a new saving throw. You can purify non-magical food and drink within a 5-foot radius. You can ward a creature within range against attack. A creature who targets the ward with an attack must make a wisdom saving throw. The creature must choose a new target or lose the attack or spell. Interesting. And then Shield of Faith. Shimmering field appears and surrounds a creature of your choice, granting it +2 bonus AC for the duration. As far as your spell casting ability, that is Wisdom, that it is based on. Your spell save DC is a little formula that is 8 plus your Wisdom modifier. In this case, it would be 3 plus your proficiency bonus. So that would be 5 plus 8. That is math. That is 13 for a spell save DC, meaning when you cast that spell against, say, someone's reflex or someone's intelligence or someone's wisdom, they have to roll over a 13 to be saved by the spell. As far as your spell attack bonus, that is your wisdom modifier plus your proficiency. So in this case, it would be +5, meaning that when you roll that d20, you add 5 for the spell attack bonus against their armor class. As you can see from these bags here, we're not done with the cleric just yet. This is your divine domain: knowledge, life, light, nature, tempest, trickery, and war. Each one has their own benefits and perks, and we will go into detail with each and every one of them. So if you choose to go down the knowledge cleric route, you can see you get these domain spells, and each domain has their own set of spells that you automatically learn. So you'll always have these at your disposal. You don't need to spend a slot to prepare them each day. You'll always have command and identify at the ready. Now, if you cast both of them in a day, that is your level 1 spell slots used up. So don't waste your spells if, say, you want to do some damage and you happen to have, say, the Guiding Bolt prepared. You know, leave a spot open, but it's good to know that all of these spells will be yours and do not count against your preparation. At level 1 of the Knowledge Cleric, you gain 2 languages of your choice. You also become proficient in your choice of 2 of Arcana, History, Nature, or Religion. And remember that we had the option as a cleric to choose from these particular set of skills: Persuasion, Insight, Medicine, Religion, and History. So this is a good accompaniment. You don't need History or Nature if you're a Knowledge Cleric. Don't waste your proficiency from your cleric in something that you become proficient in as a Knowledge Cleric. So it's cool to write down all the things that you have proficiency in and then choose your final proficiencies last. One last thing to add, that if you roll for Arcana, History, Nature, or Religion, your proficiency bonus is double for each one of those 2 skills. And the last thing to keep in mind is your proficiency bonus is doubled for any ability check that uses either of these skills that you choose: Arcana, History, Nature, or Religion. So, for example, if you wanted to choose History and Religion as a cleric, but did not choose History or Religion as your Knowledge Cleric, you do not get to double your proficiency bonus in History or Religion because it's not based on your Knowledge Cleric, it's based on your actual cleric. So if you want double proficiency in Nature or Religion, take it as a Knowledge Cleric and then get Arcana and History as a regular cleric. If you choose the life, Cleric, Bless, and Cure Wounds become automatic for you. You know them and don't have to waste a prepared slot for them. You also gain proficiency with heavy armor, and the Disciple of Life healing spells are more effective. Whenever you use a spell of first level or higher to restore hit points, the creature regains an additional hit points equal to 2 plus the spell's level. So a level 1 Cure Wounds would add 2, so they get an extra 3 hit points to the roll, meaning that 1d8 plus spell casting ability modifier, and that would be Wisdom. So you can get 3 plus 8, so that's 11, and then add an extra 3, so 14 rather than 11 hit points cured if you are a Disciple of Life. And if you were to take that at second level or higher, increasing the number of d8s you roll, of course that number gets exponentially smaller. Your return on investment goes down the more d8s you have, because that doesn't go sky high. It goes 2 plus 1, 2 plus 2, 2 plus 3, not like a d8. So this is very powerful in the early game, but later in the game, the Disciple of Life might not be good, but throughout the game, your proficiency in heavy armor would be really, really good. So as a light cleric, you get Burning Hands and Fairy Fire at first level, and these are not clerical spells normally, but they allow you to cast them as a cleric with this skill. You also get a bonus cantrip, meaning you gain light. So if light was one of the 3 that you were going to choose, guess what? It's free. You don't have to worry about it. You choose 3 other cantrips, so essentially you start with 4 cantrips rather than 3. Very handy. And you also get the Warding Flare. You can interpose divine light between yourself and the attacking enemy. When you are tracked within 30 feet that you can see, you can use your reaction to impose disadvantage on the attack roll, causing light to flare before the attacker hits or misses. The attacker that can't be blinded is immune to this feature. You can regain this feature the times equal to your Wisdom modifier, a minimum of once. In the case of our cleric here, that is 3. After a long rest. So Burning Hands, you hold your hands with thumbs touching and fingers spread. A thin sheet of flame shoots forth. 15-foot cone must make a dex saving throw. 3 6-sided dice fire damage, or on a fail, it is half as much damage. And flammable objects are ignited. As well as Fairy Fire, we saw this in the spell list before, but any creature is outlined in blue, green, or violet light. You gain advantage on an attack roll against them, and they are not benefited from being invisible. If you are a nature cleric, you gain animal friendship and speak with animals, so you almost envelop your inner druid. In fact, being an acolyte of nature at first level, you learn 1 druid cantrip of your choice and gain proficiency in one of the following: animal handling, nature, or survival. So you can see where this nature is coming into play. So that is one skill that we don't know, as well as animal handling. So a cleric can be pretty proficient in a lot of things with the correct background here. Animal friendship lets you to convince a beast that you mean it no harm. If the intelligence is 4 or higher, the spell fails. The beast must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be charmed by you for the spell's duration of 24 hours. You can also speak with animals, giving you the ability to verbally communicate with beasts for the duration of 10 minutes. And it is limited by their intelligence, but they can inform you about nearby locations, monsters, and whatever they have seen for themselves in the past day, up to DM's discretion. So if you wanted to be a druid and a cleric, this might not be a bad way to go. If you are the Tempest Cleric, you gain Fog, Cloud, and Thunder Wave, and proficiency with martial weapons and heavy armor. This is good for your fighter clerics for sure. Fog Cloud allows you to concentrate for an hour to create a 20-foot radius sphere of fog centered within a point. The sphere spreads around corners, heavily obscured, lasts for the duration or until a wind of at least 10 miles an hour disperses it. So a smoke screen And then Thunder Wave, each creature in a 15-foot cube must make a con saving throw. It takes 2d8 thunder damage and is pushed 10 feet away, or half as much damage and not pushed on a save. In addition, unsecured objects in that area are pushed 10 feet away from you, so massive force push. And also, you can thunderously rebuke attackers. When a creature within 5 feet of you that can see you hits you with an attack, you can use your reaction to cause it to make a dex throw. The creature takes 2d8 lightning or thunder damage of your choice on a failed save, and half as much as a successful one. You can use it equal to the number of times of your wisdom modifier. And they replenish after a long rest. So 3 times you can say, nope, if you hit me, Wrath of the Storm. So this is definitely a good fighter cleric. So if you choose to be the Trickster Cleric, you can Charm Person and Disguise Self at level 1. You can also use your action to touch a willing creature other than yourself to give it advantage on Dexterity Stealth check. So this is your Infiltrate, your Spy Cleric, if you will. The Charm Person attempts to charm a humanoid. You can see it must make a wisdom save, and does so with advantage if you or your companions are fighting it. So before you get into a brawl and fisticuffs, try charming them first. If it fails, it is charmed until the spell ends, that is 1 hour, or until your companions do something harmful to it. The charmed creature regards you as friendly. When the spell ends, the creature does know exactly what happened. And Disguising Self. Clothing, armor, weapons, and belongings on your person look different until the spell ends, so you have a 1 hour complete disguise. That does not stand up to physical inspection, so as long as people look at you, they believe you. The moment they bump into you or say, hey, let me feel that, or hey, that's a nice cape, the disguise breaks down. So these are your Covert Ops Clerics. And lastly, if you are a War Cleric, you gain proficiency with martial weapons and heavy armor. Your god delivers bolts of inspiration to you while you are engaged in battle. When you use an attack, you can make one weapon attack as a bonus action. You can use this feature the number of times equal to your wisdom, a minimum of once, and regain when you finish the long rest. So in the case of our character, that is 3 times that we can say, nah, we're going to attack again as a bonus action. Our spells are Divine Favor and the Shield of Faith. The Shield of Faith is a first level cleric spell that you may choose to learn, but you don't need to prepare it anymore. You have it. So awesome for that. And finally, the Divine Favor, concentration up to a minute on self. Until the spell ends, your weapon attacks deal extra 1d4 radiant damage. So if you do hit them, you roll a 1d4 on top of your base damage. So let's say you're rolling with a mace. So you get your 1d6, bam. And then on top of that, you roll your 1d4, bam, for a maximum of 10 damage rather than 6, thanks to your Divine Favor. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is a brief overview of the level 1 cleric. And as you can see, there is a lot to unpack, and as a cleric levels up, it just gets more intense from there. Clerics can do a lot, that is for sure. So if you're not sure what class to play, a cleric might be a good start because they have just so many different options of play that you can do. Hopefully this video has given you a little bit of direction if you wanted to play a cleric. In the next episode, we will be going over the Druid. So if you are one with nature, love animals, being out in the wilderness, living it and roughing it, the Druid is coming up. But that will do it for me. Like, share, and subscribe if you are so bold. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next D&D 5e for Absolute Beginners. Take care.